with us. We can use it whatever way that we want. And since it's with us, we have access to information. And speaking of information, information has also changed. Back in the day, the only way that you could get information was by going to the library, and you had to go through countless of shelves just to search for that one book. And if that one book didn't have that information you were searching for, then you'd have to go to the card catalogs and then go through all of that different processes. But then, just like technology, information or its access also changed when we had now portable media devices such as CD-ROMs, wherein information could now be condensed. I remember, I think I was 8 or 9 years old. I saw for the first time a CD that had the Britannica Encyclopedia on it. And I remember watching like the 5 second videos of trains moving, just basically telling people that telling the readers that these are how trains look like, and all of that. And information then was still it was it had become portable, but of course it wasn't accessible. Just like the library, there were only certain times that you can access information, which is from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or even up to 5 o'clock. But then, just like technology, it transformed. And now we have devices that can connect to the internet. We now have different websites such as Wikipedia, we have Britannica, all of those online encyclopedias that are readily available for us to use. And this was something that wasn't achievable a decade or even 2 decades ago. But now we have these devices that have really helped transform the way we teach and the way we learn. And so with with the digital transformation, our classrooms are no longer classrooms wherein you'd have students arranged by rows and columns, and they would just be listening to the teacher or reading pages 1 to 30 and then just harping up that information. No, today our classrooms are now more dynamic. There's a lot of learning and movement happening because our students have access to information that's really important to them. And we teachers have access to information that is also important to us. And it's now time for us to really think about how can we combine that information to create a learning environment that's really personalized and contextualized. Because now our students don't just rely on textbooks, but they also have access to different materials as well. And we teachers have to create those materials that would prod our students in the right direction, and also give them time to process it as well. And so with all of these technologies, we now come to the different modalities of learning, or the different ways that we can learn inside the classroom. One way, one way that we can learn, or how our students can learn, is through creating flipped classrooms. Since we moved to an online learning environment, this has gained a lot of traction, because now we have to give our students that opportunity to learn content outside the classroom, giving them modules, giving them resources that they can access at any time so that they can read up and research. And then later on, when we meet them face to face, they can apply this learning inside the classroom through demonstrations, through simulations and experiments. And us teachers, since we've created this learning content, we really have to be mindful of what we really want our students to learn. And apart from all of this learning, or this flipped classroom, there's also that emphasis on inquiry learning and project-based learning. And as you all know, I've always advocated for inquiry-based learning. It's one of the first topics that I shared with in this wonderful webinar series, because I really feel that if we are able to create and curate content and resources for our students, then our students will make that learning their own. They'll be able to really take ownership and find significant learning opportunities out of that. And with problem-based learning as well, we have here inquiry and problem-based learning. Our students can now really focus on what the problem is in their own community or in what they're doing, so that they can come up with different solutions. They can now make use of different 21st century skills. And we as teachers have to provide them with those opportunities to really learn and explore through the resources that we are creating for them. And so the question now is, how can we make learning personalized and contextualized? So with that question, we can take a look at some of our learning resources curated different resources for my students. And one thing that I've done to curate those resources is that I've created different modules and also ebooks for my students to learn or to gather as or use as a reference material. Sorry about that. And so with that, I've used a lot of different applications such as Book Creator, which we'll get into in a little bit. If you joined me earlier on, way back in June, I think, I talked about how Pear Deck was able to create these different or these wonderful resources that we can share with our students and that they can do offline or on their own. And I've used a lot of G Suite for education applications such as Google Docs and Google Slides. And I've sometimes curated all of this and placed it into a Google site where my students can just access all of those presentations that I've created, or even have access to the presentations that their classmates even created. And so with all of that technology and all of those applications, it has also helped me think about those students who may not have internet access. Because all of these applications are designed for content creation, we can create modules that are personalized for our students. We can create modules that we can print out later on so that our students don't have to rely on a textbook all of the time or have to rely on the internet. And one way that we can create that is by using what's known as a hyperdoc. A hyperdoc is basically a document that you can create either in Google Docs or on Microsoft Word, and you can embed different links and resources for your students to access. So your students can visit web pages so that they can read up on the content that they're learning. You can also link it to podcasts, especially if you're talking or if you're learning about historical figures, or even videos from YouTube as well. Now, how about for those students who don't have the access to information or who don't have access to the internet? Well, with HyperDocs, because you are curating these resources, you can compile all of that and turn this into a PDF, which you can print out later on. And the product is that your students will have a very well curated resource that they can really maximize all throughout their learning. Now, apart from Google HyperDoc, we can also make use of Pear Deck, especially if we're really big on modules. We can create different presentations with different activities that our students can do and work on as they are learning. And as you can see here in some of the pictures, that you can embed videos that they can watch later on. And because Pear Deck is really interactive, they can answer different questions by summarizing information through that Pear Deck itself. And it's really a wonderful resource because you can see the progress that your students are making. You can also see the information that they are accessing and how they are summarizing all of that information and demonstrating their knowledge as well. Now, lastly, we have Book Creator and also Google Slides. I enjoy or I love using Book Creator and also online publishing tools because really, we as teachers, I think it's one of our dreams for us to create like our own textbook. And with Book Creator, we can create those textbooks or at least learning modules for our students. And because these apps are, or Book Creator is designed really for our students to, or for students to like create different resources, and also or we as teachers can use this to create modules as well. So it's a wonderful way for us to, let's say, summarize chapters in a book, or present different and alternate or alternative views on history. For mathematics, you can do like compilation of how-to videos. Even for science, you can use this as a learning journal. If they're doing investigatory projects, they can use they can use this to create their math journals as well. So there are many ways and many applications, and these are just some that I've used in the past, and that I've used currently. And most of these applications are free as well, especially Google Docs. If you're using Gmail, you can already use the G Suite for Education applications. The Pear Deck, it has a free option, which allows you to create different modules already. And then here we have Book Creator, which I'm going to show you what it looks like in a few seconds. And so these applications are free and you can use them at any time. So let's take a look first at one of those applications, which is, of course, Book Creator. So I'm excited to share with you Book Creator. So welcome to Book Creator. Book Creator is basically a web-based application that you can access on Google Chrome. In Google, with Book Creator, you can create different styles of books, ranging from comic books to even simple book, or the usual form of books that we use as well. Now, with Book Creator, do know that it has a free app on both the iPad and also on your Android devices. It will only work on Google Chrome because that's where it's designed in. And basically, you can create books that you can use or that you can share with teachers and students at any time. So with Book Creator, we have here the following options. First off, we have what's known as our library. So as you can see here, this is our library. We can see all of the books that we've created. We also have the option to create a new book. So if I go ahead and click that, I'll be given these different options to create books. So we can create the usual or the standard portrait style book. We can also create a square shaped book or even a landscape book, especially if you're teaching in the early years or in the kindergarten. I think a lot of teachers or a lot of books are in that landscape view. We can also make use, or if we want to share this with our students, we can also make like comic book style books here. So we have, of course, the landscape, the square, and also the portrait style books with the different the different organization features. So that's one way that you can create books as well. Okay. Now, as you can see, I've created this sample book here. It's currently empty, but if I go ahead and click it with this edit a new book, it will open this window, and you can see here that this is now where you can create your book or your own book. Now, with this, there are some options or there are some icons that we need to take note of. First off, we have the add item button, which is the plus button that you see here. We have the inspector button, which basically shows, which basically gives you information about an item on the page or on the book itself. And we have the play button. When we click the play button, it goes into full screen mode, and we can browse the book as we normally could. There's even an option for the book to be read to you. So if you've typed stuff here and your students click this, it will read to them. But do know that it comes in a mechanical voice, so it isn't something that's natural. Okay, so let's go back to the edit part. So we now currently have a very plain looking book. With this plain looking book, we can add different items here, such as media. So we have different options such as importing files or even different pictures, which we'll get to in a bit. We can even use our web camera so that we can take pictures of ourselves. And let's say you want to do a narration. We can even use a draw tool or the pen tool. There's even a text tool for typing up. And if you are doing like read alouds or you want to share this with younger years or students who have a hard time reading, you can also record your voice onto the book. So let's go ahead first with the import. And in the import, we have the following options. We can we can use Google's image search to look for different images. So we can type it up here, and it will give us a range of images from Google Images search. If you're teaching history or geography and you'd like to embed maps, you can also use the Google Map feature here, where it will show the students the exact place that they want or that you want them to explore. And then here we have another file, so we can have like different pictures, or if we have like different PDFs or documents that we'd like to upload, we can upload it through the files. And then if you're using Google Drive, you can get any file from your Google Drive as well. And also the embed a web page. So here we can embed different web pages or websites onto our book as well. So let's go first to the images. And since we're talking about books, might as well select a book image. I think I really like this one. And now you have the book here. It's now been uploaded, and we can move the book any way that we want. Now, as you can see, when I've stopped moving the book, I now have these icons here. These icons allow me to resize the book in any shape. Or if I use the green button, I can even rotate it any way that I want. Apart from that, we can also inspect this item as well and see what else we can do. So we can add a web page address. So if we want our students to like learn about the history of the book through Wikipedia, we can link that image into a web page. And then we can even order it. So we can move it to the frontmost or to the backmost as well. And then, so that's what it looks like for the images. Now let's see about adding a text. So with text here, let's call this sample book. With the text, we have the following options. We can bold, italicize, underline, and even attach or turn this title into a link for accessing either a different part of the book or even a web address as well. From the text box, we can also record our own voices here, reading out the text as well. So I think this is a really good title already. So let me go ahead and just click done. As you can see, the text is quite small. And since we're doing a cover, it doesn't look really appealing. So what we can do is we can just click on the I button or the inspector button. And with the inspector button, we now have the different options of resizing our text accordingly. So we can use this slider here to slide it accordingly, or we can even use the plus buttons for even more to get the size that we actually want. We also have the different align buttons such as center, justified, and even right align, and also our usual bold, italicized, and underline. We can also change the font as well. So Book Creator has all of these fonts that are readily available for us to use. So there you have it. I think Open Sans is quite boring. So let me go ahead and choose a more interesting font. So I'll go with Comica Title. And now it looks even more interesting. Black is a bit too boring also. So I can use different colors that are available. Ooh, yellow hurts the eyes. So I'll go for something darker. I guess gray would be okay. Now, apart from these colors, we can also choose other colors as well, such as, but just by clicking the plus button. And we can move the icon that we want here. So it gives us all of the color spectrums, all the colors in the color spectrum. And then we can even increase the brightness and the lightness of that color as well. Okay. And we also have all of the other options, such as adding a background for our text box. And also, if we want to have like columns on this cover page, we can also do the same by having columns as well. But this will only apply to the text box itself. So we'll take a look at that later on. Okay, and then we also have shadow. So if you want the shadow effect for your text also. And so there we have it. We now have a really cool looking book cover right now. So let's go on and add a page. So we just click on the right icon and it'll give us this page again. Clicking again will give us another page. And then there will be that plus page also. So there we just added more pages onto our book. So right now we're on this blank page, and as you can see, it looks a little bit boring. It looks like a typical student's notebook, something that we don't want in our textbook that we're creating. So if I go ahead and click the inspector button, we can change the page according to what we want. So if we want it to be like a plain white page, we can change it to that plain white page, or we can even add colors to it, such as these pastel colors. Now, if you're a music teacher, you can also select the music bars option. You can also add in these comic book effects. But as you can see, every time I change it, you can only select one theme or one template for that page itself. You can't combine the comic template with the music template because it won't work. However, if you go to a new page, then you can select a different page template as well. So that's just one of the limitations, and it applies for both the pages that you're in. Okay, so there are other features or templates as well that you can select. So there, if you're teaching science or want a more science-ish template as well, that's also available as well. Okay, so now that we have our templates, or now that we have our page ready, let's go ahead and explore some other tools that we talked about earlier on. One of the tools that we can use for Book Creator is the pen tool. So the pen tool is basically your drawing tool. And as you can see here, it has opened this drawing page for me. Now with the pen tool, we have the following options. We have the typical pencil or marker tool. We have the brush tool, crayon, highlighter, and auto shapes. We will get to the auto shapes in a bit, but oops, I clicked on it, so now it's preparing itself for drawing, but we will stop it first. Now, apart from these different tools, we also have like how thick or how thin we want our brush strokes to be, or our pen strokes as well. Now, once we've select the appropriate or the heaviness or lightness of the stroke, we can even go ahead and select the color. And so so for this, I'll just use the pen tool marker or the pen tool. And then I'll choose my favorite color, which is blue. And we can do like different drawings as well here. So I can do a smiley face, or I can draw whatever. We can also change the colors of some of these things that we've drawn using the fill tool here. And with the fill tool, we can change the color just by selecting the color picker. And we can also add these different magic ink. So we can select this, and voila, it has turned it into grass. If we want to bedazzle it a little bit or have like rainbow-ish colors, then it's also readily available as well. So that's one. So that's also the different ways that you can change the images as well. So here you have it. We can even insert emojis onto our book creator, which is all available here. So we have all of the emojis that we commonly use, and this is great if you don't want to keep on uploading pictures or using Google image searches. We can use these emojis that are now readily available as well. So we have animals, people's and body, food, sports or activities, travel and places, different icons or objects as well. Now, I know that you've noticed that I don't really draw really so well. And one thing that I like about Book Creator is that apart from providing you teachers or authors these different tools, there is also this item or this pen tool known as the auto draw. And so with the auto draw, I can just basically draw an object. I don't know what I'm drawing. I guess I wanted like a shopping bag. And so using that shopping bag drawing that I just did, Book Creator is now suggesting these different options for me to select. So I'm looking for a shopping bag, but I don't see a shopping bag right now. Oh, there's one. Here it is. So I guess this is the closest it can come to shopping bag. And if I click on that, it transforms my drawing, my very basic drawing, into a shopping bag. If I continue drawing, let's say this time I want to do like some mathematical shapes. Let's say I want a triangle. So I just drew a triangle, and now it's suggesting these triangles for me as well. Or this one, even this one. And it has all of these other options as well. So it even has this elbow. So if you're learning about different body parts and body systems, then that's a great way. And there you have other images as well. Okay, so let's say I draw a circle even. It will suggest a circle. I think if I draw a line through this, it might suggest a pizza pie. I hope it's a pizza pie. Oh, and can't find the pizza, but it has suggested like these different icons also. So there you have it with the draw tool. You have like your different options, such as the pen, brush, crayon, and highlighter, and also the auto pen as well, with the varying thicknesses of your pen tools. And of course, you have your color picker here as well. So if you're happy with the drawing, all you just have to do now is click done. And it's now uploading, and it will appear in a bit. And there you have it. So the drawing that you created, which you can even resize and put here. So there you now have your drawing here. You can even move it to the other side. And then you can now start typing up all of the information that you want for that. So hello and welcome to your learning journal with the book creator or with the text tool. You can create paragraphs here. You can copy and paste any information that you have from one of the resources that you created in the past. So hello and welcome to your book creator site. Feel free to explore the applications and tools here. So there you have it. And now it's here on this page. We can change the font size as well to make it really big. If you want to divide it into columns, so there, it's been divided into columns as well. If you wanted 3 columns and even 4 columns, but as you can see, it's barely legible. So we can change it, and there you go. You have all of these column tools as well. Let's go back to making it just 1 column so it's not so confusing. And let's also change the alignment to that. So that's basically the basic functions of Book Creator, which you can explore also when you create your own account. Now, do know that when you create your own account, you're only given 40 books to create. Now, once you reach the 40 books, you'll have to delete some books, but nevertheless, it's still once you delete those books, it's gone forever. So I would suggest that you download it first. Now, once you've created your books, the next question really is, what can I do with a book? Well, with the book, you have the share button here. So with the share button, you can publish your book online. So when you publish this online, it will become available in the Book Creator Library. The Book Creator Library is the repository of all the books that have been created on Book Creator. It is only available on Book Creator and nowhere else. So if you are working or if you're publishing work of your students, please do ask their consent first before you publish online because of data privacy reasons, and also to ensure that the work is properly acknowledged as well. So once again, when you publish online, it will only be made available on Book Creator. Now, if you want teachers or a fellow teacher to work with you, let's say there is a math or science team and you'd like to create a science experiment module or science experiment handbook, you can set this book for collaboration. So now collaboration is in progress. So how can we share this library or this book to our fellow teachers? Okay, so let's close that first, and let's hover over here. So here we have the title of our library and all of the books currently in our library. So if I click the downward arrow, I have these different options. I can add a co-teacher, and so the co-teacher can also edit on my behalf. Okay, let's go ahead. To add a co-teacher, first invite them to join your library, then click on the 3 dots next to their name and choose promote to co-teacher. So how do we invite others, or how do we invite a co-teacher? So we click on the invite others to join, and it will show you this code. Now for the teachers who are currently watching this webinar, I'm giving you access to this library. So just follow this code that you see here. It will be active until Monday. I forgot the date, September 1 or September 2. But anyway, since it's Saturday right now, you have access until Monday. Okay, so with that, you can access it. You can explore the library. You can even do this activity here as well. So now that we've added people, we can download this book as an ebook. and it will download as an EPUB file. So for your students who have their own devices, such as their own tablets or their own phones, you can share this with your students by sending it via email. Now, for students who don't have their own devices or who don't have access to to the internet, you as a teacher can also print out the book as well. So if you've been using this, or if you've created this as a module, you can download this as a PDF, or you can even print it directly. So that's just some of the ways that you can use Book Creator as well, or sharing Book Creator. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be online that the students have to be online. You can use Book Creator by printing it out and sharing it as a paper resource or as an actual physical resource. So this is really helpful, especially now that now that a lot of teachers are thinking about how to create different resources or reference materials that are uniquely theirs. Okay, so that is Book Creator. I hope that you learned a lot. Do spend some time exploring this. So once again, explore. I'm giving you access until Monday for you to explore this application and also do and really learn some of the other tasks as well. Now, apart from just exploring my library, when you log into Book Creator, you're greeted with this dashboard of your libraries that you currently have. So once again, you're only allowed one library with a maximum of 40 books. And then, so that's your library. We also have the Discover. So with the Discover, you can see also all of the different books that have been created by teachers who are using Book Creator. So a lot of foreign teachers have created these books, and it's also been sorted according to according to different levels as well. So middle school, high school, and also other examples also. And then here we also have different subjects. So if you need other resources, then you can download those books as well. But don't forget to acknowledge and cite sources. If you want to learn more of the different advanced features, from within the Book Creator dashboard, they already have this learning library where you can access all of the information, such as how-tos, getting started, and even creating your own books. And if you want to get certified, Book Creator has also created a certification course where you can be a Book Creator certified author. So that is Book Creator. And let's now go back to our presentation. So now that we've learned a lot, or now that we've learned all about how to make different resources that are distinctly personalized and contextualized, I end this session with this reflection of why we want to create personalized and contextualized resources. First and foremost, we want to make resources that really match the content with the skills that we are doing. A lot of the books that we receive usually are a one-size-fits-all approach. But sometimes in our own learning environments, we have certain practices and certain things that we do that is uniquely part of our school. And so when we create those different resources, we can create modules and books that are tuned in or that are keyed into our own practices. We can also make the content ours. So as you can see that sometimes the books that we have, they might not have all of the information, but because we've been gathering and curating different resources over time, we can make the content really ours and uniquely to our own school setting as well. We can tweak the level according to the students to make the text a little bit more complicated or a little simpler. Make use of different pictures if we've been on field trips to different places as well, so that our students can visualize it. And of course, with all of these creation, it's important that we teachers, we continue to curate the resources that we want, because now that we have these different applications that we can transform for both online and offline use, we will be able to really help or create, personalize, and contextualize content. So that's it for this morning. I thank you for joining me. And once again, I'm Alfonso Mangubat. You can search or you can contact me via Twitter. That's my Twitter hashtag, or that's my Twitter username at Teacher Forest. Or if you want to learn a little bit more from some of the topics that I've shared, you can go onto my YouTube page, Alfonso Juan Mangubat, and you can just search for the videos that I've created in the past. So thank you once again for having me this morning. And I now open the floor to any questions that you might have about creating and making personalized content or contextualizing content as well. Thank you, and the floor is now open. Hi everyone, good morning, and I have a question here from Queenie. Her question is: can the book that be used for a scanned PDF file of a book? If I'm not mistaken, you can upload